Hello and good morning. My name is Russ Laggan, and you are tuned in to the Big Agent Meeting. Today is August 29th. We've got a great show lined up for you guys today. I'm going to kick off with some Attraction Advantage segment that I do, talking about attraction. Then we're going to bounce over into Brokerage Brief with Holly Mabery, of course, KGCI Radio with Ian Wheatley, and then we've got a great interview that I can't wait to see myself because I love listening to this guy talk about YouTube. Mike Sherrard, Bryon, Ellington, talking about YouTube and how to build your business with YouTube, which is pretty cool. In addition to that, we've got, of course, BuildASign promotion coming through with BuildASign. If you guys don't know about that, I'm going to have a segment on that for you guys then. And then, of course, University Spotlight with Alyssa Specht to make sure you guys know what's going on with University. All right, so to kick off today, I want to make sure before I do my segment intro, I want to make sure you guys know, check this out, what's going to pop up on the screen. Workplace is shutting down, officially sunsetting on August 31st. And some of you guys might be saying like, Russ, why would EXP change that? Yeah, exactly, right? Well, Workplace, as you may know, was built by Facebook, is built by Facebook, and Facebook has actually been talking about shutting it down for a year. So we've been working on finding the backup plan so to be able to have the systems and parts and pieces. And of course, it's always a little bit different, but EXP is officially transitioning to Slack. As of August 31st, Workplace will be read-only, which means if you try to type something in there, try to send me a message saying, Russ, I love you, man. Thank you. You're not going to be able to do that on Workplace chat either. It'll be read only as of the 31st. So for those of you that might be going, what the heck do I do now? Guys, you got to jump into Slack. Slack is the new communication tool that we will be using from top to bottom with EXP. So jump into Slack. There are multiple trainings going on every single week with how to get up and running and how to use Slack. It's a little bit of a learning curve. I've actually cussed at it a couple of times myself because I don't like learning new stuff like that either sometimes. But with that being said, now that I've used it for a couple of weeks, it actually feels just like Workplace chat. Got a good understanding of how it works. So jump in there, dive in there. And if you get stuck, they got a ton of support stuff in place for you guys. Worst case, go to Expert Care Concierge, the 800 line, and say, guys, I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. So the Expert Care line will be able to guide you in the right direction if you get stuck. Okay, so now you've got a couple of different options. And just know, as of Sunday, Workplace will be sunset and we're doing everything on Slack. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys there. Okay, so segment for today, it's August 29th. Talk about Attraction Advantage segment here. One of the things that you guys may or may not know is that there are really 5 different categories of people that fit into attraction, right? Okay, the first one is the producer style personalities. Like, I go out and I crush a bunch of houses. In the process of crushing a bunch of houses, that's the way they're going to do attraction. So for a lot of you guys, you're going to fit into that production style attractor. The second style of attractor is a promoter. Somebody that's on, that's live, that does the social, standing up, telling the story, promote style business, and that person is going to be able to do attraction in that style, of course. And that's not too far different from the influencer style. Think about it like this: the Jennings families, right? Or yeah, Jenner family, right? Heck, they didn't have anything at all except influence from doing the stuff online. And now, of course, now they've built businesses, and now they've built companies, and now they've built products and all kinds of things. But that influencer style, standing up there, being seen, being able to promote, also influencer style of attractor is somebody's out there in public and people come to them. Okay, the other style of attractor is a coach style, right? And I kind of fall into that category a lot, right? I like coaching, teaching, training, helping others to be successful. In the process of doing that, some people are like, hey man, can I hang out with you a little bit more? And I'm like, yeah, totally, right? So that coach style, you have things and help other people move through certain things. Like Mike Sherrard later on the show, very much a coach, coaching on how to build YouTube business, right? And then of course there is the connector, which is the person that just everybody likes that person, and that person is always making connections. I know somebody, you know somebody, and I'm referring people to you, you're referring people to me. We're building a network of connected people. That is another style of attractor. So you kind of got to figure out which style and which flavor you are and which one you work best with. So now you might say, well, Russ, how do I know though? Guess what, guys? We actually have a quiz. So we're going to have popped up on the screen here a quiz that you can take, and you pop onto that link and take the quiz. It'll ask you a number of questions, and then at the end of those questions, it'll be like, boom, you're a producer style, or boom, you're a promoter style, or boom, you're an influencer for me. bam, I hit the coach style, right? So you guys have the ability to have that evaluate. And then within that, now you know how to build your business and say, hey, lean into that, right? And you're like, but Russ, I really want to be that. I was like, if you're wired that and that's what you're great at, don't worry about that. Like, lean into who you are. Be glad that you are what you are and lean into that. Instead of trying to minimize your weaknesses, let's maximize the things that you're great at and lean into the things that you're amazing at. So there you go. Attraction advantage, part of Big Agent Meeting. And by the way, guys, if you haven't figured out already, go to your local favorite, either YouTube Live, or you can go to your Spotify or Apple and the Attraction Advantage podcast. We just dropped 5 sessions in. We're doing 6 sessions this week with new guests talking about how you guys do attraction, how they do attraction, how you guys do attraction, taking your business to the next level. All right, so next up, we have the one and only Holly Mabery talking with Brokerage Brief for today. Holly, take it away.
It's been a really big week and lots of really cool announcements. So I thought I'd kick off our 3-day weekend with a bit of fun, and first and foremost, say congratulations to Taylor and Travis. I know, the big Swifties out there. I was super excited for the engagement this week, but I love that NAR showed us where are you more likely to see either Tay or Travis or them together. And Nashville's holding out. So $426,000 for an average sales price as opposed to the Kansas City Metro. So Swifties, pick your poison, see where you want to live, Music City or close to the Chiefs. You can't go wrong. But let's talk about what else is going on in the market, because it's been a long, hot summer. And when you start to look at what the market is doing, it's really important to break these things down. You and I have been talking all year about this being a professionals market. So inventory is up, okay, creeping up there, and it continues to grow nationally. What it's doing, though, is impacting our days on market. And this is where I want you to really dial in what's happening for you locally. Nationally, we went up from about 22 days on market to averaging just over 30. Okay, no big deal. But for some sellers who were used to multiple offers in 24 hours, they're not going to get that. The script that I want you to be thinking about as you're having these conversations at the table with your seller is, hey, it's not about getting multiple offers. It's about getting the right buyer, the right offer that's most likely to close for your house. Also, we're seeing that median sales price level nationally really not rise a whole bunch. That's not shocking. We're seeing the inventory go up. Buyers are a little more discerning. And so that price point is not quite softening, but everybody's sitting back and going, I wonder what's going on here. So those are things to watch. But also, I want you to think of this. When it comes to buyers, they are being super thoughtful and they are absolutely shopping on logic. Yes, we saw pending home sales it was a little stagnant, like 0.4% is not a whole lot to gauge nationally. And so as a result, what are the conversations you're having with your buyer? If you just started working with them this year, it's been like being on a roller coaster and going through the fun house of mirrors. You never know what you're going to get. When I'm working with buyers right now, I'm talking to them about what they can expect, what it looks like for the future. Now, yes, rates are a bit more favorable and we may see the Fed probably adjust. That's all indications between now and the end of September, but we'll see. What's more important in working with a buyer is what are their needs today? How do we take care of them? And how do we have those conversations? Now, this is what's interesting. In looking out west, yeah, there was an increase this past month, right? Looking at July home sales, but it's not been as favorable as other parts of the country year over year. What's really interesting, though, is rural mortgage applications have increased by 80%. People are really looking at getting out of cities. They want to get away from folks, have that little farm or homestead where they're, growing a big garden and chickens. And I can totally relate to that because I'm doing both. It's one of those that as you're having conversations with clients, what are their needs and what are they looking for? But also, what is that long-term planning? And so we're seeing a lot of people kind of move about the country. And honestly, the tech advancements that we're seeing, being able to broadcast live to you right now from my home just outside Sedona, Arizona, it's a really cool thing. And a lot of clients are able to do that. So setting it straight, that's also the other big thing that I want you to look at coming out of July and from the National Association of Realtors. And oh, by the way, if you're not following them on Instagram at NAR Research, these are really great tips and tricks that they're publishing throughout the week. But when we look at what happened, a lot of people are, oh, there's so many cancellations. Y'all, not as many as we would think there are. Right? There are contracts being terminated, but again, buyers are being more discerning. If you've got a seller who's really stuck on not negotiating for repairs, or maybe the appraisal comes in soft or low, the buyers don't have to take that. They can go look at other houses and they're willing to wait. The other thing as far as sellers is they still have a tremendous amount of equity. They saw about a 9% per year increase, which is tremendous. And so they're sitting on 50% equity in some cases, maybe even more. Finally, when you look at cash, yeah, absolutely king. As you look at the Florida market, this is what I found so interesting. Florida market above, and specifically Miami, above $1 million, about 50% of the transactions, all cash. But once you start to click that up and look at, transactions above 7 million, yeah, it's hovering closer to 59%. And that's not uncommon. We're seeing that out in California as well. So cash is really a driver. Now, who has the cash? Who has that liquidity? It's a lot of our baby boomer buyers. Say that 4 times fast and I'll give you a cookie. But what I want you to think about in all of this is, who are you relating to? How are you educating them? And what is that discernment? Some folks, they don't care about the interest rate. They're willing to make a purchase for the right property fitting their family needs. Now, the strategic conversations, I always want to leave you with action steps and ideas to incorporate in your business. First and foremost, let's talk about sellers. You want to get as close to perfect pricing as possible, because if we go in and we think we've got a $20, $30, even a $50,000 spread on something that's $400,000, $450,000, y'all, that's too much. You want to be really surgical going in. I'm looking at Zillow at the Zestimate. Yes, I said it, the Zestimate. I also want you looking at MLS, but then I want you kind of looking at everything like, what are your past sales? What's gone on to contract in the last 45 days in that price range, in that neighborhood? It makes a huge difference. The other shift here is the conversation with your seller about what buyers are expecting. Are they expecting a house at that price point to be in perfect condition or near perfect? Are they expecting a lot of repairs? I'm sorry, are you cleaning the house up? Is the yard in good shape? Have you done all of these things? Does it need paint? Buyers are not willing to spend extra money in this market unless the house is gotten at such a great deal that they can afford to. So those are really strategic conversations to have. Then I want you to work with your buyers on those strategies of what's most important to them, what they can leverage, and how they want to negotiate. See, making the offer is just the first step. It's time, terms, conditions, all of those things come into what is the best price. And this was what was so interesting. In Dallas recently, it's got like 90% of sellers said, hey, come look at us, whatever. There was one buyer that they took almost a year to purchase a home under $700,000. Okay, a year. That's incredible. But what was interesting is they finally closed at 671. And by doing that, they looked at rate buy downs, they looked at concessions, they looked at their broker fee being paid, and they were able to get the best house for them because they were thoughtful and surgical in how they looked. So really be looking at that yin and yang between your buyers and sellers. Now, past clients, this is the perfect time to be contacting them. You want to be updating them with quick market looks, maybe cocktail stats, things that they should know, because everything is shifting and the national narrative is not local. You own that story, so share it. Then I also want you to be thinking about insurance rates. We're seeing that go up across the nation as much as 21%. So how are you advocating and educating your clients what they can expect, what questions to ask, and be proactive? Also, homeowners associations, do they have enough in reserves? That's a huge issue because insurance is hitting HOAs as well, especially on the community plan side. And then zoning updates. We've got a lot of legislation moving through to make deregulation very popular. So what's happening in your area? What are we seeing as far as opportunity zones? Because that will impact pricing as well. And then finally, I want you to ask for the referral. when it comes to your business, your proactivity right now today, and especially as we look at September, October, November, that's building your pipeline for 2026. It's so incredible. Everything that you guys do, the phone calls you make, the connections you make, that all leads to a successful 2026. And finally, I want you promoting business at local. See, you can always ask for referrals, but when you give, you get. And that makes a huge difference. Local businesses are struggling and they need our support. So your opportunity to be that purveyor, that ambassador of awesome that is all in your community, go ahead, dig in, and share the fun and love with those people that are surrounding you. Guys, that's your Market Minute. So great to catch up with you this Friday.
All right. Thank you very much, Holly, Mabery. Always thank you for bringing good stuff to us and making sure our people know what's out there, what they need to know to take their business to the next level. All right. So next up is KGCI with Ian Wheatley. Ian, take it away, brother.
Hey, thanks, Russ. Good morning. For all you agents that are on the gram, is your Instagram profile really pulling its weight? Or is it just sitting there like a digital business card that no one ever flips over? I know that most agents are sitting here thinking, well, Ian, I already post reels every day. I got a decent headshot there. What else could there possibly be to do? But if your profile isn't converting followers into clients, you're ultimately leaving money on the table. And in today's market, it's not enough to just be showing up on Instagram. You need a profile that converts and reels that actually hook people in. And without the right strategy for you, you're blending into the noise while other agents are standing out. That's exactly what we're tackling in today's Friday Focus on KGCI Real Estate On Air. It's an Instagram overhaul, profiles that convert and reels that work. We'll be breaking down the blueprint used by Gogo Becky, Tina Belleville, Hallie McCrory, Holly Kitchens with me throughout the day, along with the proven strategies used to win clients by many more of eXp Realty's very best. You can tune in live all day after the big agent meeting, so scan the code, punch it up at realestateonair.fm, or catch it all on demand on your time with our always free Real Estate On Air mobile app for iPhone and Android. And don't forget, if you listen to anything on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube Music, and more, be sure that you're subscribed to KGCI Real Estate On Air.
All right, there you go. Ian Wheatley, thank you again for an update. KGCI, always bringing you good stuff. Okay, so guys, check this out. Like slide your chair up, maybe put a helmet on, strap on a seatbelt. Bryon Ellington and Mike Sherrard talking about lead generation, YouTube style. You're going to want to see this and put some of this stuff in your life. All right, Bryon, go ahead. Take it away, brother.
Before we get started, though, Mike, for folks who aren't necessarily familiar with you just yet, would you mind sharing a little bit about yourself, how you came to real estate, and what your journey has been like so far?
Yeah, definitely. So I was previously an engineer and was recognized as one of the top employees of 60,000 in my first year, but realized that that was never going to get me to the level that I wanted in life in terms of the time freedom and the money freedom. Around that time, I was buying my first house, and typical story, like most agents, the agents maybe didn't do the best job, and I thought I could probably do this better.
When you talk about the lifestyle and the local content, can you give us a sense of some of the things that work and some of the things that maybe don't work?
Yeah, definitely. And it's never been easier by leveraging AI. So if I was to say in 2025, what would be my strategy? It's actually different than what it's been in the past, because now agents with free tools can identify the best strategy for their market. And so my recommendation in today's world is to leverage something like Manus, MANUS.IM. And Manus does deep dive research far superior to ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, Claude, any of them. And so the prompt that you can use is say, hey, I'm a residential realtor in Austin, Texas, and I want to generate buyer and seller leads on my YouTube channel. Do deep dive research and identify the top keywords in 2025 for Austin real estate and develop a YouTube strategy that's going to help me identify, for example, either A, the best local buyer content, or relocation. So local lifestyle or relocation. And it will give you, within about 10 minutes after it does this research, the exact keyword specific to your market right now to the date that are going to guide your channel influence. And so I like to now, with the tools that we have access to, take a data-driven approach. What gets measured gets managed. And yes, I can give you the general consensus, which is that for relocation content, the things that are going to work best is the typical based on human and consumer behavior, pros and cons of living in your city, cost of living in your city, reasons to move, reasons not to move, and all those pillar videos. And then local lifestyle is going to be things like community comparisons, top neighborhoods for different demographics. Monthly market reports are incredible for generating buyer and seller leads. But that is a generic approach that works for everyone at a good level. But if you want the best level based on the tools that we should now be using, especially with the EXP being very focused on AI, I prefer to take a data-driven approach specific to your market so you know the searches and you can build out a strategy hyper-specific to what works today.
You mentioned something, and I'm curious. I was going to ask you about profile setup. You said, click my profile, and it sounded like you had some sort of Calendly or some similar type of, book an appointment thing. Is there any sort of formula or guidance about setting up my profile properly to succeed?
Profile or description of a YouTube video?
Well, both actually. The channel page, I say profile, but really we're talking about YouTube, so the channel page. But then also any particular video, any guidance there?
Yeah, definitely. There's a few elements to this. So let's unpack it. There's your about section, then there's your actual YouTube homepage, and then there's your YouTube description. Those are three things that can be optimized very strategically to increase your lead conversion rate. And so if we look at the about page, which is your about section where you should get started, there's a couple things that are critical. You talked about SEO. Well, I would write a bio and then you can put it into, Claude or something like that and get it to rewrite that bio in an SEO optimized way. Because when you start looking at, for example, writing the fact that you're a residential realtor in, Austin, Texas, or top real estate agent in Austin, Texas, right? A top real estate agent. If you're an icon level agent, you are. Well, that could potentially rank for when buyers are searching or sellers are searching for a top real estate agent in Austin. So I always encourage, make your bio SEO optimized. The second component of that is going to be the links, right? And so there's a couple of links that you should have. Your calendar link. You should have your whatever CRM of choice you've decided, and the IDX website feed search that you can link there. I would encourage you to have that. And then I also encourage to have a lead magnet. And so if your focus is relocation, you should use something like Gamma and build out a relocation guide that you can connect to your CRM of choice and use that in order to generate leads. So website, also your KB Core lead magnet, and making sure that I encourage you to cross promote your Instagram, for example, because oftentimes people will find you on YouTube and validate you on Instagram. They say, is this guy or girl legit? Right? I want to see their personal side, because on YouTube, you're usually not showing the behind the scenes of your family, your passions, your hobbies, but that's what connects with other people. So I always encourage to cross promote. So those are some of the key elements that should be in your about section. Now, when you look at your home screen, there's a couple critical things, and it's a science that most people underutilize. You've obviously got your banner at the top. You have your profile picture, which should be consistent across other profiles. But then you've got a couple things. Number one, your featured video. Your featured video should be a video that's tailored toward your niche. So if your niche is helping land and ranch, that video should be about how you help people with land and ranch. If it's relocation buyers, it should be about that, because you have two choices there. You can choose one video for new subscribers, people who are not subscribed, and one video for current subscribers, which should always be your most recent video. So that should be the video that shows up at the top. After that, you can insert playlists. And when it comes to playlists, you should have a playlist about your niche and your target avatar, and link that below. So that is a seamless customer journey where people can see a video about who you help, then they see playlists riddled with content about helping those individuals. And so that's how I recommend optimizing your home screen. And then there's the description of your videos.
Okay.
Similar to Instagram, you have on Instagram, you can click see more and you see the whole description. Well, on YouTube, you see a few lines above the fold or before people click see more. That is where you want your call to actions. So very similar to your about section, the first call to action should be a form of contacting you. A Calendly link is usually ideal. The second and third, the blend of other ones, should be in no specific order. I'll link to your CRM of choice IDX page for people to search, and also a lead magnet associated with your niche. Typically, it's ideal to have 2 lead magnets, one for relocation buyers, one for local lifestyle for locals that are living there. They want a local guide about the top restaurants, top cafes, top things to do, top events happening this year, that type of stuff. All can be created in a few minutes. But it's important to have your call to actions at the top, then the description of your video. And then if you want to kind of go to the next level, you can add timestamps, if you will. But all that matters the most is having those call to actions at the top.
All right, so if you guys like that little nugget from Mike Sherrard and Bryon Ellington, make sure you go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, EXP YouTube channel, and type in Bryon Ellington, Mike Sherrard, winning clients. You can type that in there also, and make sure you watch the full video end to end. He's got a lot more details and a lot more depth to that conversation. So if you like that little snippet, make sure you grab the whole thing and watch that and take your business to the next level. Of course, thank you very much, Mike Sherrard, always leading the edge with YouTube. Very cool stuff. All right, so with that, next up, the agent of advantage. Easy for me to say today. Agent Advantage, talking about BuildASign. If you guys don't know about BuildASign, here's a little promo, tells you all about BuildASign.
Hey, I'm Nathan Miller, and I am the account manager for EXP at BuildASign. BuildASign is the exclusive print provider for EXP and EXP agents. As a result, we have a store, exp.buildasign.com. As you can see, it's right here. It is got all of the designs that are corporate approved at your fingertips. As well, there is a fairly robust upload your own feature in regards to signs and for business cards and other marketing material. The reason why I really want to emphasize this today is what I've seen in the past 12 months that separates icon agents from just the run-of-the-mill real estate agent is the way that icon agents approach the market with one unified brand. Now, that means they have a very clear identity in all of the print marketing that goes out. So that's flyers, brochures, business cards, as well as the signs that they have out with open house signs, their for sale signs, their flags. And then that brand also translates over to their web presence. And so you'll see it in, whether they have a virtual business card or whether they have a very clear email tag. They have a really good relationship across all the different vehicles that they would potentially interact with the client with their brand and the message that they're trying to send, and honestly, the effectiveness that they're trying to communicate with. And so one way that you'll see them kind of go back and forth is their sign might have a QR code or their business card might have a QR code, and that's going to lead, the shopper to a site with their face, building trust, as well as, the different listings that are on the market or the services. A couple different ways that you can use print marketing that I've seen from really successful agents is there was one agent in Virginia, a really high performer, and he used 12 by 18 corrugated plastic signs and 18 by 24 corrugated plastic signs, which are by far the cheapest. And he placed his face and his service and just his brand at every public easement that would allow it. And so he said, sometimes it might get a little awkward going to a grocery store, but he created a brand identity, and it was implying that he was a local expert, because in all the places that a potential buyer would be walking, they saw his face. You can go, if this was something that you might want to try out, you can go to the upload your design right here, and there's multiple different options on this upload your design for the different sizes. Now, one thing I want to recommend, and I'll share this at the end, it's early access to our Labor Day flash sale for y'all joining the call. Corrugated plastic, if you want to try something in market in lots of different places and you're okay with it being disposable, bulk pricing corrugated plastic is going to be your cheapest best bet that you should try. Another way that I saw an icon agent really communicate and affect the buyer with their signage is on open houses. They would have signs that were welcoming with iconography that was warm and greeting. And so as the buyer was walking towards the office or walking towards the open house, they were like starting to understand the message and the brand identity of the listing agent. And, open houses are just a great way to also pick up new buyers. One thing that can be daunting is, icon agents have been going at this for a long time. And so they have a more robust and intentional approach on each of their different marketing materials. And, you don't need to do that right off the bat. You can really pick one thing that you want to try and test and start getting feedback from the market. And so I showed you kind of the upload your own, a couple other marketing options that are out there and available. Business cards, notebooks, presentation folders, etc., door hangers. These are all, and card magnets. These are all different ways that you can get your information and your service out into the market in a intentional way. If you haven't started doing this yet, or if you're, this is old hat, I am going to share the access code. It's 60% off for all signage, and then it's 15% off all paper and promo items. And it's EXP Labor Day flash sale, all caps. And I don't know, I'll put it in, I'll make sure that it's shared with this call. But yeah, I look forward to seeing what different designs come through. And if you need any help, you can call this number at the top while you're checking out, 877-858-4587. Once again, my name is Nathan Miller, and yeah, thanks for working with BuildASign.
All right, there you go. BuildASign, that is a company that EXP affiliates with to make it as easy as possible for you guys to have the tools and the parts and the pieces and the signage you need to do your business. We love to support those companies that are part of us and part of our brand, and make your business a lot easier to connect with and have the best stuff out there. All right, next up, Alyssa Specht, University Spotlight. Alyssa, take it away.
What's up, big agent meeting? Alyssa Specht here. And my friends, we are rolling into September with pure gold at EXP University. We are bringing you kitchen table conversion tactics, some big picture brokerage insight, some agent success stories, and a top-ranked team leaders dropping by to give us some play-by-play strategies on the lab. Let me break it all down for you. Starting with Monday, join us for Level Up. We've got Phil Hahn coming in, talking about listings and getting objection-crushing confidence. So Phil's going to walk us through converting FSBOs, and he's going to talk about relisting expireds without that awkward energy. So if you want to own the kitchen table conversation, this is your session. Next up, we're going to look at Thursday. Thursday, we are kicking off with another executive masterclass with the Holly Mabery. So this is where leadership meets operational excellence. So Holly Mabery is going to be pulling back the curtain of how we're building systems to keep agents compliant, confident, and future ready at scale. So you do not want to miss this. Then we're back to Friday with another big agent meeting with Leo Pareja. Leo's back, and guys, we're talking about breakthrough systems, what's actually working and how you can apply it to scale your business today. All right, but we're not done with Friday. So Friday, we also have the Lab podcast with Alicia Collins. This one is fire from start to finish. So we're sitting down with Alicia Collins. She is the EXP team leader in Wyoming who led her team to 215 sides. We're talking about over 67 mil in 2024, ranking them #1 in the state. So I want to hear what she's got to say. And she's going to be sharing the systems behind how she builds 5-star client relationships and the marketing strategies that keep her team top of mind and top of market. So guys, we have got a lot going on next week. Get those sessions on your calendar, tag your people, and I'll see you there.
All right, there you go. University always has a list of amazing stuff. We have some of the best trainers in the country training all the time with the most updated stuff that you could possibly imagine. So thank you, Alyssa, for making sure we know what's going on in University and where University is going for the next week or so. All right, there you go. There is the show, August 29th. By the way, guys, turn around twice. September. Next thing you know, the leaves are going to be falling up here in the north. September's right around the corner. I want to say thank you for showing up to listen to the Big Agent Meeting. Of course, as always, make sure you do an NPS survey if you could for us. Pull out your phone, open up your camera, click on that QR code, and let us know how we did on a scale of 1 to 10. How did we rate out today? Give us a fair representation of what you thought of today's show and any suggestions if you want us to do something different or add something to the show. All right, there you go. That is the show for this week. If you want to stay tuned for iConversations coming up next, I'll see you guys next week.